Shalom. I'd like to say all praise is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to Apostle, a great millstone, peace and blessings to the elect. My name's Conwell from GMS Toronto, doing this lesson, and it's gonna this is an article all off of the militarytimes.com. This is an article entitled Automatic Registration for the U.S. Military Draft. Eligible men to begin in December, right? So so now the America, is public, right? This wasn't, this is not a rumor. Things is being done quick, right? Because they have to bring men and women, to like to be drafted for this ultimate war, the war of all wars that's gonna happen in the valley of Yehoshaphat, right? Let me get that. Joel 3:9, proclaim me this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, right? And that's why Iran, they've been stockpiling, nuclear missiles for many decades. Russia as well, China, North Korea, India, Pakistan. These people are war ready, right? And this technology, these missiles are going to be shot. These intercontinental ballistic missiles will be shot through Babylon and certain parts of the world, right? And that's going to cause a lot of casualties. Many casualties will happen, simultaneously. Beat your plowshare into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. So that's why a lot of these countries like China and Korea, North Korea, and even like Persia, right? They were more, agricultural based, and then after World War II, where the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Japan, where America, they sent the atomic bomb known as the Fat Boy and Little Boy atomic bomb throughout Hiroshima, Nagasaki in Japan. That was a test run. So that's why a lot of these other nations, they began to stockpile on weapons to defend their nation, right? So everything was happening is according to prophecy. Let the weak say I'm strong. So now they were very weak, but now they are strong, right? And America, they can't touch China, they can't touch Persia or Iran, right? Assemble yourself and come, all the heathen, gather yourself together round about hither. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, right? The mighty ones are the angels, right? Because this whole war, that's brewing up, right? It's gonna lead to ultimate world war. We're in World War III, but it's going to escalate, and they have to bring in America has to bring troops, and a lot of their troops are not gonna come back. They're gonna come back in body bags, right? Because Iran or Iran or Persia, it's a very big landmass, right? And you can't just go in. You can't even go like you can't really go in on foot, right? There's a lot of mountains, right? So it's a trap. It's a trap, man, for these American military men to bring troops into Iran, right? It's gonna be a loser, ultimate loss. There are many of them are gonna die, right? Let the heathen be wakened, come up in the valley of Yehoshaphat, right? So Yehoshaphat is, or Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew is Yehoshaphat, which means Yahweh judgment, right? This is the Lord that's orchestrating this thing, right? I think Exodus says the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name, So everything what's going on, it's gonna escalate, you know. Um, this whole thing now, where the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, right? So a lot of trade, a lot of the oil and stuff, coming to America, is causing a lot of shortage for fuel, especially for the airport, like the planes and stuff, right? So this whole war, soon, people won't be able to travel, right? There's gonna be limitations of traveling. Everything what's going on is all orchestrated by the Mosai, right? And ultimately, the Mosai is using these elite to to cripple this whole society, right? And they're going to bring in this whole MOTB system. This is what this is what it's all about. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I judge all the heathen round about, right? So that's over there in Persia, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Gaza, West Bank, that whole region, Saudi Arabia, it's our or the United Emirates, like those Arab countries. This whole thing is this is the Mosai Yahweh's theater of war. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come and get you down, for the press is full. The fat overflow, for their wickedness is great. Right? So the Lord is judging, these nations, right? And for the controversy of Zion, what they have did unto the Israelites. Multitude in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near, the valley of decision. So they're gonna be bringing their troops. So let's read some of this stuff. Atomic red automatic registration for the U.S. military draft. Eligible men to begin in December. Automatic registration into the U.S. military draft pool for eligible men is stated to begin in December, following efforts from lawmakers and this selective service agency to springline the previous self-registration process. The selective service system, the federal agency that maintain a database of registered U.S. male who are considered draft eligible in the event of national emergency, submits uh, a proposed rule to the Office of Information and Registration Affairs on March 30th, according to the office dashboard, right? So this whole thing now, um, them bringing the eligible men from 18, I believe, to 26. I think it's probably higher, but basically they're going to they're going to bring that they're going to draft you, right? And if you're not if you're not registered, if you don't want to be registered, they're going to apprehend you if you don't want to comply and become a soldier, man and woman, right? They're going to come hard, and um they're going to lock up the men who don't want to comply, right? There's a thing I saw here. It says currently almost all male U.S. citizen and immigrants age 18 through 25 are registered to register self-registered within 30 days of the 18th birthday, with late registration available until individual turns 26, right? So if you don't want to comply, so let's keep reading. The men who fail to register are considered to be in violation of the Military Selective Service Act and can face penalties such as um, in ineligible such as ineligible for federal programs, a fine of up to 250,000 or 5 years in prison, right? So a lot of young men, a lot of young brothers, who's within 18 to 26, right? You have to pray that Yahweh Shemashai will guide you there during these times, because they're going to want to draft you, right? But the elect is not going to be caught up in this whole war, right? The Lord's going to shield them, protect them, right? So if you're going to be um, if you're eligible for the draft and the U.S. and the government's going to come after you, right? Um, you're going to go to jail, right, for 5 years, right? If you don't want the thing. So, you know, um, no, we're in that time, man. And this is it. This is it. This is it, like Michael Jackson said. So I will share this link in the description. Get Isaiah, I think Isaiah 47, I believe. Isaiah 47. I started at Isaiah 47:6. I was wroth with my people. I polluted my inheritance and given them into their hand. That's why we're the Israelites. Our people don't know who they are. They don't have their heritage. They lost their nationality. These world governments are calling them, our people. They call them black people, West Indian, Haitian, Latino, Native American, right? And this is a big conspiracy, right? Psalms 83. They have to take crafty counsel against that people, because these world governments and leaders know exactly who the Israelites are, right? But the Lord, he set up like that Jeremiah 17:4, I think it says he's going to make us discontinue from our heritage, right? Because we have disobeyed the Heavenly Father. And that's why our people are lost. All right, they don't know who the hell they are, and given them into their hands. Thou didst show them no mercy, and upon the ancient hast thou verily heavenly laid thy yoke. That's what they're doing to this day, man. These you know birth certificate, SIM card, birth certificate, SIM card, and um this whole feudal, this whole the system what Esau has set up, right? Where like you can't even like you're not even getting your proper wage, right? When you get a wage, like you're supposed to get paid, even if you're working a job or you have an employment, right? You're supposed to be paid the same day, right? So these, that's a big transgression, right? Like that's a transgression, man. It goes into Torah, right? If you don't want to, if you don't pay a man, like you're supposed to pay a man, the same day, right? Um, and a whole bunch of these different things that Esau has set up, right? These different laws that Esau has set up, right? Especially now, right? Here in Canada, they have a bill known as Bill C9, right? Where no, soon it's going to be a crime to speak out or to so-called preach in public, right? So they're censoring their internet, man. Thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, right? Because these Edomites, they've been living good, right, for hundreds of years, right, through the whole transatlantic slave trade, and then Esau eventually, like rose up to rank, right? Having these wars in America, American Revolution against the British, right? And then, the Americans, they got their independence. They set up, this whole so-called constitution, you know this whole democracy, the whole the two-party system, right? And Esau was living good, especially during the 19 so-called like the good old boys era, right? That was probably like the 1950s and stuff, 1960s, with the whole American Revolution or Industrial Revolution, that they had all these these petrol um institution like a GM and Ford, and these different plants that the men, they could like they bought homes, and back then, like women didn't have to work, right? Like men were the breadwinners, right? And those American, these so-called middle class and rich Edomites were, was living very fat and luxurious, man, right? But now we're at their end. The the Edomites is at their end, and the Israelites, it says for second Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world. So this is the end of Esau's age, his rulership, right? But the end, right? The Israelites is going to conquer. They're under Yahweh Shai, right? Through a celestial body of angels, right? That's that's how the saints is going to be marching in. That song, When the Saints, I think it's, I forgot the guy's name, When the saints go marching in. Oh, yes, I want to be in that number, right? So that's what we're hoping to be, the elect, right? Because the elect is already predestined, man. So therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasure, that dwellest carelessly, that said in my heart, I am, and none else beside me, right? So these, these Americans, right, their whole capitalist, their whole ideals was to, rape these other nations, take their resources, you know, um, and plunder and conquer, right? You know, that's the American ideals, man. I am, and none beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children, right? Because they were living very luxurious, man. But now, where this whole war with Iran, they have to bring in troops. They have to draft men, right? And women, right? They're going to, bring in troops, man, right? For this whole war. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in a one day, the loss of children, the widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection from the multitude of thy sorceries. So that's going to happen ultimately through nuclear missile, thermal nuclear war. But even before this, there's going to be a lot of widows, right? A lot of families that's going to be separated from their husbands, man. So there's going to be a lot of widows out there, right? Because a lot of these men are not going to be able to, are not going to come back, on the shores of America, because they're going to fight this war. And those Iranians, they're cruel, man. The second Ezra's 6:16, I think. Never went to in a while. Second Ezra 16. Right? The second Ezra 6. I think it's second Ezra 6. One moment. I think second Ezra 5, I believe. I think it's second Ezra 5. Right? Because we are in these times. All right. Second Ezra's 15 and 16. Right? Right? Many of the scriptures in Revelation, we are living in those times. Right? The end times. Yeah. Second Ezra's 15. Second Ezra's 15. I started at 24. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. Right? So these Jake, that's gone back into the world, and trying to make it, in Babylon. Right? The Lord's going to judge our people first. The Lord said he's going to Ezekiel 9, he said he's going to go after the ancient. He's going to come after those who knew that they're Israelites, man. The Lord's going to send the angels, man. Right? And then even like a lot of these different camps, who's pushing false doctrine, man. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. Right? For Yahweh shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Behold, the horrible vision and the appearance of thereof from the east. Right? So that's from, over there in the so-called Middle East. Therefore, the nations of the dragons of Arabia, right? So United Emirates and like Qatar and these Arab states or these Arab governments, right? They are standing with Iran, right? So America is going, they're mad, right? Because America was making a lot of profit, from Arabians, from Saudi Arabia and stuff, man. But now they're not able to get the oil, right? And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble, right? Also, the Carmanians, right? So the Carmanians was a place known as Persia or Iran, what they call it, Iran today, right? Um, they're fierce, man. As also the Carmania raging in wrath shall go forth as wild boars. Right? A boar is wild. A boar, like when you look at the characteristic of a boar, right? They're very ferocious, and dangerous, and they kill. Right? They eat, they eat people. So these so the Iranians, man, they're going to have a field day, with you Americans going into Iran. The wild boars of the wood, and with the great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of Assyria. So the Assyria now is referring to America, right? It's not talking about ancient Assyria, right? It's referring to the land of America, right? And there's a lot of there's a couple there's a lot of places in America where um it's known as the land of known as Nineveh, right? Because Nineveh was a place because Nineveh, right, was a place in the Bible, right, where the Syrians were. But now, this is, the new Nineveh or the new Assyria or America, man, right? And them and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, neither and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, right? So these Arabians, right, they're going to like they are going to join battle with the Iranians, man, the Arabs and the Iranians, right? Remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. All right, so America, they're going to be, their military is going to be, is going to be destroyed. Right? And that's why Trump is upset, right? Saying that, that NATO, because like America, Trump is upset because because NATO is not really joining America with this whole battle with Iran, right? That's why it says that the like these the beast is gonna hate the whore, right? So these NATO allies, they are basically like persecuting America right now, right? And ultimately, some of these NATO countries, alliances, is going to shoot missiles, right? So then shall Then shall be troubled, uh, bleed, keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemies besiege them, and consume them, and in their hosts shall fear and dread and strife among their kings. All right, so America is going to be totally destroyed. Behold, clouds from the east, and from the north, and from the south, and from the very from the very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Right, so that's going to, their military, their arsenal, right? They are armed, right? These other nations, they're armed, right? They have the nuclear missiles and the ICBMs, and they have a lot of great power. Then shall they shall smite one another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star, and blood shall be as from the sword of from and blood shall be from the sword upon unto the belly. All right, and dungs of men unto camel's hoof. Right, so it's going to be a lot of casualties. Money. So no, this whole war, man. It's all orchestrated by the, Yahweh, right? Which means he is to be, and Yahweh Shai, which means he is Savior. They are waging this war, and it's already written. It's already written here in the scriptures, man. That there's gonna be a lot of casualties, right? So that's pretty much it, you know. So I'm gonna share this link in the description. All right. Automatic registration for the U.S. military draft, eligible men to begin in December. Right. So this whole thing, right? There's gonna be a lot of casualties, man. A lot of widows. Yeah, so with that, like to say all praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, the one apostle, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect. Shalom.